Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode in beautiful Geistal, Austria. So we're still in February, it's still under freezing temperature, but we have some work to do. And that work will contain going to the vehicle shop and getting a new piece of equipment. Because while I was studying and while I was setting up my own company, I did not lose the love for farming. So I kept reading and I kept some magazines on order. And I've read about this thing called precision farming. So that is basically something that the European Union, it might be called something else, but yeah, it's something that's wildly pushed, and it's presented as a very good way to do farming. So the basic idea is that you actually measure what your soil type is, that you measure what kind of nitrogen content you have, what kind of acidity it has, and everything else, so you can actually make the soil perfect for the crops you're growing. Now, why is that important? Because if you have too much fertilizer in the ground, it's gonna wash down into the drinking water and it will contaminate it, and it's gonna cause all sorts of problems. If your acidity level is not good, you use more fuel to grow crops because you get less crops per yield. So the yield is less if you don't have the correct amount of acidity for the given crop you're trying to grow, because different crops require a different acidity level of the soil, and so on and so on. But to start with that, or to get the measurements, you gotta have some equipment. And I'm gonna go down to the shop. It has already been ordered, and I'm gonna pay down with the farm's credit card, debit card, so to speak. Yeah, we don't have a credit card. And yeah, we're gonna purchase that piece of equipment. It's called an Isaria Scout, and it's used to take soil samples, and this is pretty much our job for today. So yeah, let's get into the tractor. Today I'm taking the Fendt for a ride. I haven't yet driven this because it's been new to the farm. The Merc has been here for a very long time, but the Fendt is a bit newer. Let's get in this queen. Alrighty, let's close the doors. Let's get this baby started. Hey, the sound. Oh wow, if you rewind the video a bit, you can see that the temperature of the engine was under freezing. Makes sense, because it was outside. And the temperatures are below freezing. Alrighty, yeah, so while we wait we can have a look around. So it's nothing fancy, this tractor. But it's gonna do whatever we need it to do. It has 150 horsepower, so this is our strongest tractor we have in this very moment. Okay, let's slowly get you underway. And this tractor is also a bit faster than the Mercedes. Oh no, it's not. It's actually the same speed. Oh well. I guess I'm wrong. Okay, do we have a beacon? I think so. Turn it on. At least the button is turned on. If there's no beacon on the roof, can't really help it. Listen to that turbo whistle. we're gonna have a lot of fun with this tractor. Yeah, see you down at the store. As much as this tractor is fun to drive, it's very loud. And when you're doing work for a few hours on the fields, it can get old, I think. Ice cream in the middle of February. 'Cause why not? Alright, so we don't need to put any more fuel in this tractor. It's pretty good. So we'll just get that Iseria Pro and move on. Start doing some measurements. Nobody's gonna mind if I park here, right? Okay, I'll leave the beacon on. And let's go and get that piece of equipment. Hello everyone. Anyone here? Oof. 17,000 euros later, we got a machine over there. So let's have a closer look at it. This basically attaches to the 3-point link. You connect all the hydraulic hoses, and this takes soil samples by poking a rod into the ground and taking a soil sample and dumping it in one of these 3 cups. And when you have all the soil samples taken, you send them to a laboratory where they test it, and in a fairly short amount of time you get the results, so you know exactly what you're working with. Yeah, this is gonna be a good information. Father was kind of skeptical of this approach, which I do understand because he's been doing things his own way for his whole life. And then, you know, a son comes along that says, we gotta do it another way, a different way, a better way. First you get upset. Who wouldn't? Excuse me, sir. Can you see the castle down up in the center? I'm gonna have to go there sometime. Alright, well, I think I'll see you when we come to one of our first fields, and we're gonna start sampling the soil straight away. So I think it's time I talk about some things about this farm, and that is we have most of the fields or most of the land up that mountain, and because that is very hard to grow some harvestable crops. I mean wheat and barley and stuff like that, but we need to grow it because we gotta get straw for the bedding of the animal pens. And this is why we have 2 fields on lease. The lease is yearly. We can't, you know, lease it for a month or 2 and then just give it back. it's gotta be for a whole year. Now, both of these fields are in the vicinity here, very close to the animal dealer, which I'm sure we'll see in due time when we come down here. Another thing I wanted to point out is this birch forest. And there's a dead forest over there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, look at this beautiful birch forest. Man, I love this. This is really something, and it's even better in the springtime and in the summer when everything is nice and leaved. It's absolutely gorgeous. Perfect place for a picnic. Okay, so this is one of those rented fields. Just go and check how we look. Okay, let's unfold the tester. We get a GPS map with it. Before we go in this field, I do want to check if we actually crushed the crop, because that would not be something I want to do. No. Okay, seems fine. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Close the doors. It's baby, it's cold outside. I think that'd be perfect, and let's lower it down and press activate. Alright. First soil sample taken. I'm gonna take it slow across the field because I don't want to ruin the barley we have planted. This was all Dad's doing before he got ill, or at least until he was fit to do farm work. Yeah. I'm very happy to tell you that he, even though he's mostly incapacitated, he can take care of himself, which is a big part of his mental health. Yeah, look at that, a deer. Yeah, you can see I have too much time on my hands. No rush. Only people who don't have time rush. And I'm now one of those. And we get the whole thing in. Maybe, and that's a... Yes, we can. Perfect. So each soil sample costs, I think, 100 euros. Or is it 10? In any case, each soil sample, the analysis of it costs some money, so the fewer samples we can send, the better. Okay, and for the second field, I believe we gotta backtrack a bit. And then take a left. And this is the road that takes us to the animal dealer. But yeah, we're gonna make our way to the next field. I think it's over there, you can see it over the pond. And right ahead of us is the animal dealer. This is where we get our cows and maybe some other animals later on, but and this is where you get all livestock bought and sold when you're in this area. And of course you can buy bales here and all the other fun stuff you need to take care of the animals. So yeah, this is a frequently visited place. Okay, we're in the second field now. So as you can see, our fields are not tremendously big, but so is our herd not tremendously big in this very moment. So everything works out nicely. Alright, so this is 6 samples taken, and we're done with this part of this area of the county. See if I can actually get over this hill with the tractor. Pretty steep. Oh, whoa. So indecisive. I'm gonna go off the road because of it. Alright, perfect. Okay, our next field is gonna be the one next to the big lake here. So this is gonna take a fair bit of travel again, but nothing too extreme. Right, 3 fields down and 3 more to go. The next one is right up this alley. And this is the back road that comes right next to our apple trees and goes up to the farm. So have a bit of an idea where we are at the moment. If we continue straight, we come up to the farm on the road that you've seen in the previous episode, where we were doing some manure transport down to the apple trees. Yeah, the mountains. I miss those. I've been living in the city ever since I left here, so yeah, it was really good. Anyway, this is our next grass field. I'm gonna try and do this as efficiently as I can. As I set up to drive up the incline. Shit. Wait, what's this? Hope it's not a mudslide. Hey, you can see our farm from there, from here. Look at that. And I have to speak with Dad about this landsliding, because this doesn't look very good. But he has, as you can see all around, most of the bedrock is actual rocks. They don't typically slide, even if it gets wet. But the problem occurs when you have soil built up over those rocks, and when the soil gets wet, it gets really heavy. And it can start the liquefaction process, and you can have a lot of issues. It can turn real ugly real fast. So yeah, it's not just mountains and rainbows here. It's actually can be very dangerous. So yeah, this is where we were delivering manure to previously. Now we're just making our way back up top. Now I'm not exactly sure if I chose the most optimal route, but here we are. I ain't backing up now. So we have 2 more meadows to do and 1 field, but that field has been left without crop this year, so the soil can quote-unquote rest a bit, and we're gonna tackle that field come autumn or maybe possibly spring next year. Alrighty, so this is our next meadow. So let me try and do... This one is quite irregularly shaped. So it's very narrow and it has a lot of points and turns. And it gets fairly steep in one part, so this one is a bit harder to work on, but it's manageable. All I gotta do is take my time when I'm working on these fields. But yeah, you can see how steep this is. Well, probably you can't. But it's very steep. Extremely. You can see the trees are vertical. Yeah, that's the angle. By the way, I have read that it's good for the cows to eat some mixed grasses. Not just regular meadow grass, but if they have access to, let's say, alfalfa, this is considered an ancient type of grass. And if they get access to clover, their health should potentially improve. And also their production should potentially improve. Not by a lot, but still, you know, every improvement is a welcome thing when you're farming. Did I drive past this? I think I have. Or maybe not. So yeah, you're getting a bit of a lay of the land here, and I want to know your opinion about it. What do you think about the farm? Is it tough enough? Yeah, I think it's fairly tough, mostly because of the gradients and whatnot. Okay, no, we haven't used this road. Not yet, that is. So this is another one of our sheds. I think there's a manure spreader here. Yeah, it is. And there's a bunch of debris in there, so yeah, nothing worth mentioning, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna do the last two fields in a time lapse, and see you in a minute or so. And this is it. All the fields are done. The fields are done. And the sky is gray. Yeah, so we got all the fields sampled. Now, next step is I'm gonna go back to the farm. I'm gonna unload all the samples that I have, and I'm gonna take them down to the town to mail them to the laboratory. This is basically a very similar thing that you gotta do if you're selling homemade wine. Okay, rough. Very steep. Yeah, in any case, so if you wanna sell wine that you produced yourself, you gotta take and send a few samples to the laboratory for testing if it's safe for drinking and if it fits all the standards regarding alcohol, which is of course highly regulated. And you also gotta excuse me, something is in my throat. You also gotta provide the amount of wine that you produced, and you can't sell more than what you stated. So if you produce, for example, 5,000 liters, and if you declare only 2, you can't sell more than 2,000 liters to certain buyers. Even if they wanted to, they can't take or buy this. Which feels like it's fair. But of course, the higher the amount, the more samples you gotta send. And the more samples you send, the more you're gonna pay for it. So it's directly related to cost. Okay, I'm gonna put it in front of the trampoline over there. And I think I'm gonna leave the tractor inside tonight. It's been a good boy. And I have noticed that it doesn't really have a good turning circle. Well, at least it's not a tight turning circle. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna collect all the samples and I'm gonna see you down in the town. Okay, I gotta turn on the camera. So, of course I took my dad's car, so it's... Oh wow, what are these people doing? Anyway, I'm gonna get off the road. So, yeah, in any case, I took the dad's car, so it gets warmed up a bit and turned over. And of course, I got a message from him, and it says, "What a weather. What a weather today. Moisture is bad for wiring and electrical equipment, so wear on the electrical system is slightly higher in these conditions. On top of that, harvesting in weather like this is strongly discouraged. You will only do harm to your combine." Well, thanks, Dad. I am not planning on doing any harvesting today. Not in the least. But I get the notion, yeah, that if it's snowing, because it just started to snow, it can be bad for your vehicle. But I think we're good today. So yeah. Okay, suspension under stress. Whoa, slow down. Okay, Dad, I'm sorry. What in the world? So, whoa, slow down. Driving fast over rough terrain will quickly wear out the suspension of your Volkswagen Passat B8 2015. Yes, father. On top of that, those vibrations also harm other systems, especially hydraulics and electrics. Drive smoothly and take it easy. And I definitely should not be reading while I'm driving, because I think I gave this car a curb rash. Yeah, that's gonna be pissed. Where was I? See you down at the town. Coming back to the old town. This is always a nice experience. Brings back so many memories. And if I remember correctly, the post office is right up this hill somewhere. This is a dairy... Oh, not this. Not this building. It's this one. Okay. Where do I park? I'm gonna leave it side of the road. Okay, let me quickly take the samples out. Alright. let's go send them off, not sell. Yeah, it cost 35 euros to send them off because it's a special package and it's gotta be taken care of. Alright, let's quickly go away so I don't get a ticket for parking illegally. But yeah, this is gonna be it for this episode. So thank you all for watching. Hope you had fun. And join me next time when we continue with this adventure. And these are some steep hills. Don't trust them in the snow. Anyway, take good care of yourselves and see you next time. Goodbye.